5 fragrances that set you apart from other men. There are a lot of fragrances out there these days. Most of them are pretty mainstream. And once you get into the mainstream fragrances, you start to smell a little bit uninteresting. But I've found a few fragrances that I think are still pretty unique in the fragrance market. And as always, everything I mentioned will be available in the Amazon associate links down in the description below. I'm going to start with one of my personal favorites, which is Terre d'Hermès, specifically Eau Givrée. There are many types of Terre d'Hermès, but Eau Givrée, which means like frozen water, is one of the freshest, one of the most attractive. Primarily, it is a natural juniper berry type of smelling fragrance. It is very sharp, very icy cold, a touch of woodsy warmth, but primarily it is pretty cold, pretty icy, very fresh. Very good for hot weather, the summer, things like that. But besides that, it is just in general very versatile. And you can pretty much wear this anytime, anywhere, there's no qualms about that. Kind of a downside is longevity. Not great, but as a light fragrance, you can't expect stellar longevity. I would say 5 hours on average. In general, it's a very, very agreeable scent. There's no weird notes thrown in there. Pretty much everyone I've ever heard of likes this fragrance. And it's pretty unique just because it's not that mainstream. I would say Hermès fragrances in general are not that mainstream compared to Versace or Dolce & Gabbana. So this is a nice option just to, again, stand apart from the crowd. Now, if you want something a little bit stronger, I would say Creed Green Irish Tweed. If it'll focus, there we go. Green Irish Tweed. This is a really nice fragrance from the 80s, and just because it's from the 80s, it makes it a little bit less mainstream and more unique, which is always nice. So this is a very nice, very natural, and extremely sophisticated men's scent. It has a certain sharpness to it. It has a little bit of lemon verbena to give it that citrusy greenness. Has some warmer notes, but primarily it's very much like you're walking through a garden, walking through a forest, anywhere where there's lots of greenery, that sort of aromatic nature to it. It's very nice. It's not overpowering. It's not crazy. It's not, because it's not modern, it has a certain more of an old world charm to it. Very nice longevity as well, surprisingly. Better than you would expect from this type of light fragrance. I would say 6 hours on average, maybe pushing 7, but on average it's about 6. And just very elegant. This is definitely, you could wear this if you're going to, on a nice day, going to work, going to a more formal outing, a wedding. This is a very sophisticated scent. Being from Creed, and Creed always makes extremely high quality, very sophisticated scents, especially for men. So you can't really go wrong with this, unless maybe you're not into the natural scent sort of things that it has. But in general, this is a classic Green Irish Tweed, very, very classic option. Now, going to a more modern option, I would say to opt for Red Tobacco here from Montserrat. This is a really nice, sweet tobacco scent. A lot of tobacco fragrances are maybe a little too harsh, but this is actually unisex. It blends a little bit of sweetness with that smokiness, which I think is delightful. It's just nice. It's just nice. I like wearing it quite often. I always say there's no cherry note in here, but I always sense a little bit of cherry, like dried cherries out in the background. But in general, you get a nice bit of that smokiness, a nice bit of the, primarily it has a vanilla note as its sweet note. So, the tobacco and vanilla complements each other very, very nicely. Very, very strong fragrance as well. This is especially good for cold weather because it's pretty cozy, it's pretty warm. And again, it's not super mainstream. It's more of a niche type of fragrance, so when you do wear it, you will definitely stand out from the crowd. you could easily just cut through a group of people and they'll notice what you're wearing, you know. It'll be very obvious that you're wearing something different from, you know, what most other men are wearing. And like I said, longevity is really nice, projection's really nice, nice scent trail, all that. Then, going for something that's kind of not sweet at all, from Sage Lutens, which is specifically Ambre Sultan on the box here. This is a resin fragrance. Like I said, no sweetness at all, just a bunch of resins, a little bit of myrtle and some myrrh and things like that. This is just extremely smoky, resinous, a little bit earthy. Unisex option, but I would say it's almost exclusively male. It is very masculine. Primarily because of its lack of sweetness, it is like a super powered type of fragrance. It'll last a very long time, 7 to 8 hours, very good projection, very good scent trail, pretty much all the benefits you could be looking for in a fragrance. And just in general, this is again one of those non-mainstream, more niche options, because most people, they're gonna go for Dior Sauvage, they're gonna go for Versace Eros, Dylan Blue. They're not gonna go for this, just because either they haven't heard of it or they're not interested in it. This is really, really nice, especially if you're into resins, amber, myrrh, that sort of stuff. And a little bit of a smokiness that accompanies naturally the resin notes. But this is definitely a very sophisticated scent as well. Then moving on to a different type of tobacco fragrance compared to red tobacco. This is Tobacco Color from Dior. This is not a sweet tobacco fragrance. This is more of a simplistic, smoky type of fragrance. I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a nice, warm and cozy, more mature type of fragrance. It's very sophisticated. Obviously, from Dior, you could expect that. And really good longevity. I would say 8 hours. Probably one of the longer lasting ones on this list. And just in general, it's a smooth tobacco, I almost said flavor, just scent. It's smooth scent, and you can't really go wrong. If you like tobacco, you will like Tobacco Color, because it does it really well. Instead of being harsh and too smoky and too strong, it smooths out that tobacco note, so it's just very pleasant to wear. But that is pretty much my list for this particular video. If you found this video helpful, of course, you could leave a like and maybe subscribe. And I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.